Good evening, everybody. Good to be here. It's a privilege to be here. I'm Peter Gimpel, at your service. I do windows, but I don't do voices. Tomorrow is the 30th anniversary of the Challenger tragedy. And I know this is something that hits us all very close. I've never forgotten it. In a way, I was personally involved because NASA, inspired by President Reagan, invited applications from school teachers around the country to apply to be the first civilian in space. And I applied too. I was an unemployed school teacher, so I didn't think that I had stood much of a chance. So I wrote my application in verse, thinking that that way I might stand out from all the other applications. Well, naturally, 50,000 other poets had the same ideas. I wrote a poem in commemoration of the Challenger 7. I wrote it in 1987, a year after the event. I had been writing a big project called Dante in Disneyland. The idea was, well, I started in 1972 when I was in Italy. And I love Dante, and I consider Dante my teacher. And I realized that in the year 2000, I would be 50 years old, the same age as Dante was when he died. So I got the idea, in 2000, I visit Disneyland, and whom do I run into? Dante. And I recognize him, he doesn't know me from Adam. And I see that he's lost, and I volunteered to show him around the state of the world. And this was supposed to be modeled after the Divine Comedy, which has 100 cantos. I wrote 5.5 cantos, so I still have 94.5 to go. And the last one I wrote was Canto 7, in honor of the Challenger 7. In Canto 7, Dante and I traveled to the planet Uranus, or Uranus as it's now called. In 1970, the 1970s, the media, in the midst of the sexual revolution in which the entire population adopted army language, decided to be very prudish, and therefore they became shy of saying Uranus, and they changed the pronunciation to Uranus. The same thing happened with the verb to penalize, which became penalize, for analogous reasons. The same week of the Challenger tragedy, the NASA space probe Voyager reached the planet Uranus. It was, at the time, one of the most successful space ventures on record. The planet Uranus, or Uranus, orbits the sun once every 84 years, which I recall in the poem, in case you wonder. And the atmosphere of Uranus is largely methane, which is the same gas that is now leaking from Porter Ranch and threatening the entire climate of and atmosphere of the entire world. Canto 7 alludes to the evidence that was brought out by the New York Times and other papers very soon after the disaster that indicated that the order for the launch was given under pressure from the White House, despite warnings that NASA had. Finally, it was very difficult for these warnings to reach the top management, that structural problems would seriously risk the safety of the flight, especially in the freezing temperatures that were happening at the time. The reason for the pressure was that Reagan was scheduled to give his State of the Union message later that week, and he wanted to patch in Krista McAuliffe, who was the school teacher chosen for that voyage. I was indignant, as I'm sure many Americans were, that this ever happened. It should not have happened because they had warning that there were problems. And test pilots take enough risks knowingly anyway, and they should be able to rely on the care and foresight of their management. So a lot of us feel that the Challenger 7 were betrayed. It wasn't just an accident. And that's what moved me to write this poem. And the poem actually starts with my application that I sent to NASA. And I'm very proud of the rejection letter that I got from NASA. And I'm grateful, I guess, that I didn't go. Dante in Disneyland, Canto 7. Dear Mr. President, I won't be subtle. I understand you'll take an application for the first civilian space ride on the shuttle. From teachers of all walks and every station. Well, sir, if not being hired is no rebuttal, then I'm as good as any in the nation. So please accept herewith my resume, my doctoral decree, now doctoroid, being from a foreign university, and don't count off because I'm unemployed. My reference letters are a bit passé, but sweets to the sweet, so void for the void. I know I haven't got a schoolboy's chance, yet somehow I'm as sure I found my hack to the stars as that your shuttle's found a fare. Just one more thing before I start to pack. Your ad failed to state, and to ask seems fair, whether this opening is tenure track. Now we both know it was a one-way tram. 7 valiant souls inhabit the ozone, and I'm alive to share your bitter dram. Had they picked me, I would have gladly gone. Instead, they chose and sacrificed a lamb and stuck me with this lump of frozen stone. For here the satyr's mockery turns to ice. The dart, transformed into an albatross, burdens the archer and exacts its price. It is cheap to moralize upon great loss. Enough of words is wise. Take my advice, or they will let you stew in your own sauce. But when I listen to the stream of cant that issues from a simper and a panderer, I can't contain my wrath. I won't. I shan't. Sauce for the goose is dressing for the gander. So I invoke the golden rule of cant, in case I seem to stray or to meander. When Theodosius or Bonaparte wished to exalt and to reform the law, they did not cast a lawyer in the part, dress him in wings, and build a nest of straw, bundle him in and bid him fly, depart, and dare the devil beat him to the draw, that Rome or France might crane her neck and gasp to see the law flying briefly like an eagle till gravity should reassert its grasp and dash him down a pile of feathers legal. Nor did they inscribe their code book's golden hasp with platitudes purloined from Eric Siegel. But we are governed by a different coterie. By other arts you etch your works in granite. Your monument to learning is the lottery. Just warn us of your next trip when you plan it. For ostracized mid shards of astronautery, we found ourselves upon the 7th planet. At least I felt at home on that odd ball of blue-green gas, where someone twice my age is one, and dawn is all of youth, and fall rings down the curtain and blacks out the stage, so that I've still not had my glimpse of Sol. And methane is the medium and massage. Voyager, not Challenger, transported us. Yet you could not have asked for finer crew. No fluke nor flaw, no negligence aborted us. The lesson we transmit rings just as true as if a high school teacher had escorted us, or even just a planetary Jew. Let humankind be exalted as the end of human striving, not to be degraded to a lowly means to lofty dividend. Let fluttering dreams be not in chains paraded through star-studded streets to their dead end, as captive symbols of a goal evaded. The tranquil gaze of intellect be not wrenched by rhetoric of reaction, pro and contra, of leaders irredeemably entrenched, nor by effects flash-blinded in the antra of imaging, nor thirst for knowledge quenched by cultural soda pop and mystic mantra. Permit not freedom's hunger to be sated on liberty's accoutrement and trapping, while freedom lies denuded and abated. Take not for free-flying speech and the feeble flapping of conforming lips, albeit Nielsen-rated, nor for plebiscite the pollster's random mapping. Construe no constitution of a single charter. Erect no platform of one nail. Franchise no free election on a jingle. Make not a history out of one tall tale. In short, don't put to sea upon a shingle or hoist a flag for use as a mainsail. And if you send a woman into space or two, make sure you bring her back alive, or else be quick and ready to replace her as a mother and a loving wife. Instead of speechifying and showing your face among the bereaved. Same goes for the other 5. Dante and I stood back to back, like Janus, each scouring for a bridge his hemisphere, that rare convergence in the diaphanous, like stepping stones across an empty mirror, directing us away, far from Uranus. There's more to come, although the buck stops here.